because I refuse to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
It must have been about 16, 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncers' guilt rings.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day.
Andrew McCART, IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. Delighted to be joined by Maxi Hughes. Max, before we start, because there's a lot to talk about, man, how's things? It's been a long time since I spoke to you.
Yeah, all good, mate. So, yeah, I don't think I've spoke to you since we're in New Gaff now.
Mm-hmm.
Since moved house, we're going up in world. Yeah, I'm a well kept man. It's been a while since I fought last. But my missus is she's continues to be the head of the house. She's just recently got a bonus and a pay rise. So yeah, we're all good, mate. Yeah. Settled into the new house, yeah.
Good, and you're off to America as well to have a fight, it seems.
Yeah, just a bit of boxing, other side of the pond, yeah.
Well, listen, I want to talk about, obviously, because I can remember doing numerous interviews with you, probably before you even became IBO World Champion. I maybe it was after the Kochkov fight or even the Highland fight that you said that you wanted an away trip where you wanted to fight in the US. And when you got that IBO World title, you emphasized that a little bit more, saying, I want to fight in the US. And now it's here. And you're fighting somebody in George Kambosos Jr., who's beat Teofimo Lopez, who's fought guys like Devin Haney, beat Lee Selby. So, tough fight to make your US debut.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have it on any other way. I want to, when I do get, when I do get up there, and as well when I, when the day comes that I retire, I can look back at my career and say, I fought the best. I wasn't afraid to, challenge myself and go in against these guys. Like, look at the way that, like we were just talking off camera before. I got brought in as an opponent for John O'Carroll. Jono were coming off his career best win, Scott Quigg, and talking of world titles again in America. But, I upset the card there. And, just thinking back to my opportunity on DAZN with Eddie, I had to fight Giovanni Straffon, this, sort of unknown Mexican. Wasn't much footage of him, but it was the one thing that was clear. He was an absolutely devastating puncher. Only 3 months prior to that, he'd wiped out James Tennyson, who were talked about on fighting Tank Davis. So, that was my opportunity. Massive underdog. And to get here now, but I can say I'm in this position, but look who I had to fight to get here. My last fight, Kid Galahad.
Mm-hmm.
Who wants to fight Kid Galahad? I wasn't keen on it, like, to be honest, but I got in there and I got through it. I did what was necessary to come through it with my hand raised, and it'll be no different in Oklahoma on 22nd when I fight Kambosos. Yes, it's a tough fight. He's a big name. He's an even bigger talker. But I'll go in there and do what's necessary and get the job done.
Well, I do want to touch on it because I was at the John O'Carroll fight because I was during them lockdown, coming back from the pandemic, lockdown fights. There was no crowd, and it was just it was a funny situation. But the John O'Carroll fight, you were brought in as the opponent. I'll agree to that. And obviously, you went in there and you upset the apple cart on John O'Carroll. Then it was Victor Kochkov, I believe, out in Dubai, which still was obviously a good fighter, a tough Kazakhstani fighter. You beat him. Then it was Paul Highland Jr., who you stopped in another lockdown setting. And then was it Straffon after Highland?
Yeah, Straffon. Yeah.
Then Ryan Walsh.
Right, Maxi, you've done well. There's your opportunity.
Then Ryan Walsh. That. Ryan Walsh as well. We can't forget about him. He's a tough fighter. And
yeah.
Sort of like maybe the demons were there were losing to his brother, because after Liam Walsh fight, you were ready to hang up the gloves.
Yeah, I had to dig deep. I had to start, not start again, but I were back to small little shows. After that, I had to have a 4-rounder, to get a win under my belt. Boxing for no money, just to get a win. So, I had to reevaluate and say, answer myself that question: how much do you want it? and it's paid off. I can sit here now and say I'm glad I took the fight with Liam Walsh. It didn't go my way, but I can use that experience now going forward. And obviously, I got a little bit of revenge back on the Walshes by beating Ryan. But yeah, they're good lads. Them, I've since spoke to them, and we're still friends.
Good. Well, obviously, George Kambosos, we spoke about him beating Teofimo Lopez, taking his belts, dropping Teofimo Lopez. Then he had them 2 fights with Devin Haney out in Australia. Going back to the US himself to have a fight. He's coming off 2 losses, okay, all be against Devin Haney. But we've spoke about your trajectory and your ride so far and the wins that you've got. You're on a great run. He's had 2 losses. Is that can we read too much into that? Are we expecting that obviously a fighter when he's coming off a loss, they could be dangerous because they want that win back?
It could be dangerous. I expect him to prepare. Obviously he reads The Art of War every day. I think while he has his breakfast, he reads that book every day. It gives it. He's a great talker. But I'm gonna be asking him questions. His greatest night was no doubt beating Teofimo Lopez in his back garden. He was crown champion, and then obviously he made his money, albeit he lost the 2 fights with Haney. He made his money. I'm hearing he made 7 to 10 million. 10 million quid. So, he's set for life. I admire what he's done. He's set up him and his family for life. That's what I plan on achieving and doing for my family. But there's the saying, isn't there, when you wake up in silk pajamas, and I suppose in his case he drives to the gym in his nice Audi R8, what's his hunger like? If it's not there, I'm certainly going to expose it. But yeah, I'm not too worried about what George is going to do and everything. But one thing's for sure, I'll be the underdog again, which I always am. 4 of my last 6, I've been underdog, and look how it's gone. So I'm not concerned. I'm concentrating on myself. I live the life. I train hard, and I'll again just do what's necessary to win.
What does a win do for your career? Because right now, this lightweight division is probably one of the most talked about divisions in the world right now. You've got Devin Haney, Gervonta Davis, Lomachenko. You've got Frank Martin, who's a decent fight as well. I don't know if Shakur Stevenson as well. He is there because he's called out Devin Haney. I was going to say he's a super featherweight, but he is a lightweight now. He's moved up. Do you know what I mean? You've got yourself, Kambosos. Gary Cully is still there, even though he lost, but he's still a force in that division as well. So, I mean, right now, have you thought, obviously, I know your tunnel vision right now is on Kambosos, but there must be a small part of you thinking that, like, if I beat Kambosos, man, now the sky is the limit. I could get that Vegas. I could get that Madison Square Garden. Is a small part of you thinking ahead, or are you just 100% on Kambosos right now?
Yeah, I'm focused, but as well as the fight being for my IBO, it's doubling up as an IBF eliminator. So, I'll be able to push on and, see. I don't know what Haney's doing. He's talked to moving up or whatever. But, the sanctioning bodies, IBF, have obviously waived in 3 fights now. They've waived the mandatory to let the undisputed fights happen. And one thing with boxing, nobody stays undisputed for long because obviously mandatories have to be called, and the sanctioning bodies don't allow the division to be held up. So, he's either, I think number 1 contender is Gustavo Lemos. We will be fighting for the number 2 spot. But usually if there's a belt vacant, I understand how it works is the IBF would order number 1 to fight number 2 for the vacant belt. So, I imagine maybe a scenario like that. So, that's where it can lead. But yeah, it opens a massive doors. Being on the Top Rank show live on ESPN in America, beating the former undisputed champion, it's fantastic. It'll open up a lot of doors. So we'll just see there. Like I stated, my goals now are to achieve financial security, and So I can, I can retire, have a couple more fights, retire, and just potter about. That's what I'm after.
Is the dream to hang up the boxing gloves and the paintbrush?
Say that again, Andy.
I said, is the dream to hang up the boxing gloves and the paintbrush?
Paintbrushes are long gone.
Are they?
When I packed in, they all got given to my brother, and now I give him work. When the new house, when we moved in, it needed painting. I wasn't going to do it, although he wrote me in, and I had to do a bit of rolling. I had to do a couple of ceilings, but he's my guy now. I still have to pay him, like.
Aye, well, that,
Advances,
obviously,
charges me.
you've got to make, people have still got to make a living, Max, even though you've made it.
Yeah, so yeah, paintbrushes are long gone. Dream would be to retire. The little village that we live in, we're sort of in countryside now, but there's a couple of plots of land, a couple of acres worth. That's my dream. Get on one of them. I've sort of a bit of a yard, like a yard slash allotment. So the missus wants some veg patch. I want a couple of animals, landscape a bit of it, and then just get me a little tractor that I can cut grass with. Obviously do school run, and that'd be me. A simple life.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a good way to look at it. But I do want to go back to it a little bit because I just want to ask for you if you've got an advice for any of these fighters that have had losses on their records and they feel like that's it done for them. Because, like I said to you, after that Liam Walsh fight, you were ready to pack it in. You said that you were done in the car journey home, I believe, as well. You said you've got nothing left. I've lost 5 fights now, bloody, and all this sort of stuff. So
Yeah.
there is fighters out there that have had losses, Maxi. They have had these losses and thinking about retiring. And what is your message to them? If you've got any advice to these guys, these young fighters or fighters that are looking for that motivation to keep going?
Well, if you suffer a loss, you got to look yourself in the mirror and ask you just be a bit open and honest with yourself. How much do I want this? Is this something I want to continue? It's not shattered your dreams. A loss don't mean anything. If you use it right and you use it up here and you learn from it, that's the key, is to learn from the loss if you want to continue, and just don't quit. I think without realizing, I suppose I got it from my mother. She's just she's so resilient, just to life, and I think she's passed that on. And I suppose resilience and determination I had in me. So it is heartbreaking when you lose. You think the world's over, but when the dust settles, look yourself in the mirror and say, I still want to continue. I still believe in myself. Still believe I can achieve, whatever your goals are. Mine was a British title. I achieved that, and then once I'd got there, it opened the doors for other opportunities, which then I reset some different goals. But right, let's push on to the world stage, and try and my new goal is financial security. And obviously the financial security goes hand in hand with the big fights and the belts. So with that, that's where my goals are now, and I'm on the path to doing that.
Well said, mate, definitely. And again, the goal for these titles that you talked about and the goal for this financial security that you're talking about on the allotment and the land starts with George Kambosos, I believe, on your US debut. So I suppose I'm going to ask you this. What's going to happen between you and George Kambosos?
Well, obviously, if you listen to what George says, he'll have everyone believe that I'm not good enough to lace his boots. But he's not a bad talker. But he'll fall victim if that's his mindset. Then he's going to fall victim again. I do what I would do to win. I'll get the win. I'll go over there and prove everyone wrong again. I'll be underdog. They're all, who's Maxi Hughes, this and that. But I'll be coming out there victorious. I don't see it any other way than me winning. He showed his flaws in the Haney fight. And to be fair, Lee Selby, although it would be at the end of his career, Lee Selby did very well against him. On a behind the closed doors show. At Wembley, wasn't it, when he fought him? So you know, I've seen everything that I need to see. You know, I've watched Kambosos for years. I've followed him on social media for years. He's quite good at social media. So I've followed sort of his journey. I've ended up, fighting him. So yeah, I'm very confident in myself. But yeah, what happens is Maxi Hughes shocks the world, as it will be, and we'll have this conversation again, and we'll be talking about the next fight after I've been over there and beat him.
Well, listen, Maxi, I'll be looking forward to talking about the next fight with you, because I'm pretty sure you'll be calling out the Shakur Stevensons and the Devin Haney's and Lomachenkos of this world. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
But Maxi, listen, 22nd of July, I believe it is, that you're fighting.
Yeah.
Listen, I might even ask Coogan if I can get a wee trip. You never know.
Yeah, get your sin out. I need some UK support there, don't we? Some UK media.
Exactly, we certainly do, man. We certainly do. Support our own, I suppose. That's what we'll do. But listen, Maxi, thank you so much for your time. I hope you're training hard. I know you will be, because I've spoken you on Instagram. I know you're on that track quite a lot. So listen, keep training hard, mate. Good luck with it, and I'll see you in the next one, my man.
Cheers, Andy.
Thanks,
Cheers,
Maxi.
pal.
Cheers, buddy. Cheers.
Yeah, mate. Bye.
Bye.
Because I refuse to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
It must have been about 16, 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncer's guilt ring.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day,